Okay, before we get started, this account was created to provide information on how current immigration laws apply to certain factual scenarios. There are many people, I suspect, who are worried about their immigration situation but are not sure if they should speak with an immigration attorney. Keep in mind, and I cannot stress this enough, that immigration law is unbelievably fact-specific. So even if the hypothetical that I analyze here sounds nearly identical to your situation, you still need to speak to an immigration attorney. The smallest factual differences can change everything. That said, this is not legal advice. I'm merely hoping to educate some people on how the immigration laws work, because I know that a lot of anxiety exists out in certain immigrant communities. Also, immigration laws and procedures will likely change significantly over the next few months, so what might be accurate and current at the time of recording could be outdated in the weeks to come or even tomorrow. All right, so this individual is a cinematographer from Canada. He's worked on several well-known shows that have aired in the United States. He would like to move to the United States to further expand his opportunities in motion pictures and television, and he wants to know the best way to accomplish this. All right, so this sounds like it's likely an O-1 visa type situation. All right, so O-1 visas are generally regarded as the superstar visa. Okay, so if you have extraordinary ability in business, science, music, art, television, film, the O-1 visa is basically the first thing you want to look at to see if you're good enough and your resume is good enough to warrant that. All right, so each one of those things, business and science or music or television, they have slightly different standards in terms of how they get approved. But when you're talking about an O-1 visa for film or television, you want to be able to show a sustained record of national or international acclaim for the work that you've done, essentially. Okay, that's how you're going to show extraordinary ability. So the things that they're going to look for when you file for the O-1. They're going to look at the types of projects that you've worked on. Okay, are these well-known films or are these well-known TV shows that you've worked on? What was your part on them? So were you the cinematographer? Were you a different role? Have your works won any awards? Okay, did they receive critical acclaim? Has there been published material on your work? Another thing they're going to look at is, what was your salary? What did you get paid to do your work? And of course, it's going to, was this a blockbuster type of a movie that had a huge budget? Was it more of an indie film that received a lot of acclaim? But you want to be able to argue that you did receive high remuneration, okay? So a high salary, high compensation, that sort of thing. Reference letters are always going to be important. So I always ask clients, who have you worked with? In terms of well-known names. So if we can get someone in the industry that is well-known and they're willing to write a referral or a reference letter for you, that's going to go a long way. If they're willing to say, yes, I've worked with this individual, they were great, had a great eye for different shots and for the film, all of that stuff is going to come into play. If you personally won any awards for your work, that's wonderful. Okay, I don't know that that locks it up, but it's going to go a long way as well. If the film that you worked on or the project that you worked on won awards, but wasn't necessarily for cinematography, that's going to be important as well. Okay, so we would look at all of those things when putting an O-1 together. In terms of the process for the O-1, you file the O-1 visa petition with USCIS. Okay, and you include all of your evidence, and if that gets approved, then you would forward it to the consulate and they would process the actual visa and put that in your passport, and then you're able to enter. You are not able to self-sponsor, so you would need to have an agent or a manager in the United States or an employer, maybe it's a studio that's willing to petition for you. In most of the O-1s I do, it's going to be an agent that is signing off on that, okay? You also need to get a no objection letter. So we would locate the correct labor group that maybe there's an associated cinematographers of the United States, something along those lines, and we would present to them our evidence saying that that we would like to apply for an O-1 visa, and then they will charge us to give a no objection letter saying that they're okay with this individual coming in because they don't believe it's going to harm the US cinematographers, for example. Okay, so those are all things that are going to go in there. You know, who's going to get an O-1 and who isn't, that part you definitely need to rely on the attorney who's going to look at everything and then be able to assess, is this a strong case? Is it a weak case? Is it somewhere in between and it's worth a shot? If you apply for the O-1 and it's denied, it doesn't prevent you from doing other types of visas. Okay, so it might be worth a shot to give that a go. The O-1 visa is going to be good for a certain number of years. It does depend to some degree on the country that you're from, so we have to look at the reciprocity tables to see how long the O-1 would be good for. And then in terms of renewals after that, those are possible as well. It is possible to take an O-1 visa and then apply for a green card. It's still going to be the extraordinary ability standard that they're looking at, but when it comes to a green card, they are going to want to see more evidence. So if you get in on the O-1 and then you immediately want to go for the green card, it's not that simple, okay? They're probably going to want to see more evidence that, that you really are extraordinary at what you do. There's plenty more to talk about with O-1s, but I think that's a decent primer so that people can kind of understand, is this something worth talking to an immigration attorney about? So hopefully that's helpful. If you need our help, you can reach out to us, schedule a consultation. I can go through all of your resume and history and figure out if this is something that's worth a shot. Take care and good luck.